We are going to discuss on the topic larval forms of echinodermata. A free-swimming planktonic larval existence is the characteristics to every group of echinodermata. After normal embryogeny, the gastrula rapidly transforms into a free-swimming planktonic larva. And the most remarkable feature of the echinodermal larvae that it is believed different types of the echinodermal larvae have probably evolved from a basic dipleurodula larva, that is a hypothetical larva. Now, what are the features of the echinodermal larva? Number one, there's a basic bilateral symmetry in marked contrast to pentamerous radial symmetry of adults. Winding over the larval body surface, that is varying number of ciliated bands, which help in locomotion. And initially, the embryo is covered entirely by cilia. During coelom formation, the surface cilia disappear except the ciliated bands. And appearance of such bands mark the transformation of the embryo into the larva. And there is a complete functional digestive system. And the ciliated bands collect food particles. Free-swimming planktonic lives of variable duration. The lateral larval stages of many echinoderms possesses short or long cylinder projection or arms from the body wall. These arms helpful to distinguish of different larval stages of echinoderms. Different echinoderm larvae are characterized on the basis of arms. So arms play an important role to distinguish the larval stages. And these arms disappear during larva life and are not equivalent to the arms of adult echinoderms. And after determination of free swimming life, the bilateral larva undergoes rapid metamorphosis and transforms into a benthic radially symmetrical adult form. Now, different larval forms are found in different groups of the echinoderms, and different classes of the echinodermata have their own characteristic larval forms. However, for broad description, the larva can be categorized into two basic types. One is the auricularia group and another is the pluteus group. The auricularia group includes auricularia larva, bipinnaria larva, brachyolaria larva, and galeolaria larva. Whereas the pluteus group that contain ophiopluteus larva, echinopluteus larva, and some other larval forms are also exist, such as vitellaria larva and pentacrinoid larva. So first one, the auricularia group. The auricularia group that consists of auricularia larva. This larva is a characteristics larval forms of holothuroids. That is known as sea cucumber. The class is Holothuroidea. What are the features of the Holothuroidea? They have the body elongated along the oral or aboral axis. Oral podia modified as tentacles and skeleton reduced to microscopic ossicles. These are the basic features of class Holothuroidea. And auricularia larva is the characteristic features of class Holothuroidea. And the auricularia show the following features, most simple larval forms among echinodermata. And the auricularia is a small pear-shaped body with a winding ciliated locomotory bands. These are the ciliated locomotory bands. So here, and a single locomotory band covers forward as a preoral loop, forms a smaller anal loop and a posterior end. An important feature is that the two bands are always remaining in connection to each other. Two bands are always remaining connection with each other. Here you see there is a two bands that's always remain connection to each other. Arms are absent, no arms. The alimentary canal is well developed and differentiated into regions. The mouths and anals are located ventrally. The intestine is curved. The auricularia larva is found in majority of the sea cucumbers, but in many species such as Cicomeria, it is absent. and the egg hatches into a non-feeding barrel-shaped Vitellidaria larva. However, in Cucumaria frondosa and Cucumaria saxicola, both larval stages are present. That's mean in this Cucumaria frondosa and Cucumaria saxicola, auricularia larva and also Vitellidaria larva present. Now, the second one, Bipinnaria larva. The Bipinnaria is a most familiar aquarium larva of the starfishes, and you know that the starfish belongs to Asteroidea. What are the features of the class Asteroidea? They are commonly known as the sister arms not sharply set off from the central disc. Ambulacral groups are open and a large coelomic cavity is present in the relatively wide arms. These are the basic features. Now, Bipinnaria is the first larval stage of many starfishes. A typical Bipinnaria shows the features. Number one, body pear-shaped. Initially, the body shows external bilateral symmetry. Symmetry is a bilateral symmetry. But subsequently, it assumes asymmetry. Initially, bilateral symmetry, but after subsequent stages, it assumes asymmetry. The Bipinnaria resembles an auricularia larva when it youngs, but develops a number of larval arms and thus loses its auricularia pattern. In the first stage, they resemble auricularia when they just develop. Then the larval arms are modified and ultimately loses its auricularia pattern, and then later stages development occurs. There are two locomotory bands that are connected anteriorly in front of the mouth and posteriorly in front of the anus that are mentioned here. The anterior preoral lobes, this is the mouth, here you see, this is the mouth, this is the esophagus, and this is the stomach, and these are the ciliary band. After the formation of the locomotory bands, projections of the arms arise from the body surface. The locomotory ciliated bands extends along the arms, and the total number of the arm is 12. However, these arms are considerably short, and projections of the body wall, the arms increases the surface area of the ciliated bands. Now, the anterior preoral lobe separates, or in some cases arises separately from the rest of the locomotory bands to form an anterior ciliated ring around the body. The alimentary canal is fully developed. You see here. Well differentiated and functional. The phytoplanktons are the major food items collected by ciliated bands. The Bipinnaria swims about freely in the seawater for several weeks. And it resembles to Tornaria larva of Balanoglossus. Then another category of the auricularia group, Brachyolaria larva. The Brachyolaria larva is an advanced larval form of starfish. A Brachyolaria is always regarded as a modified Bipinnaria larva. It is a modified Bipinnaria larva. And what are the features? After determined free-swimming existence, some Bipinnaria developed three brachiolar arms. These are the locomotory bands. Here. At the anterior end, that is known as brachiolar larva. The brachiolar arms are short and provided with adhesive cells at the tip. Adhesive cells are present at the tip. Between the bases of the three arms, a glandular adhesive organs, that is a sucker that is present here. The tip of the three arms and the sucker present an attachment device as the Brachyolaria settles to the bottom. In case of Brachyolaria, the larval arms are much longer and prominent in comparison to Bipinnaria. The arms are provided with cilia for bottom locomotion. The digestive system is also completely developed with defined stomach and intestine. With defined stomach, this is a stomach, and this is a part of the digestive system. And there are some pieces of the starfishes that live on sandy or muddy bottoms, such as Luidia, Astropecten, Asterina. The brachiolarva never develops. Brachiolarva larva never develops. And another larva, Doliolaria larva. Among sea cucumbers under the class of Holothuroidea. The first larval stage, Auricularia, rapidly transform into barrel-shaped larval forms. This is a barrel-shaped structure, barrel-shaped larval forms. The part of the ciliated band degenerates and the remaining parts are arranged into 3 to 5 transverse locomotory bands. These are the transverse locomotory bands. Such larvae known as Doliolaria larvae. That's mean bipinnaria larva modified from brachiolarия larva, whereas auricularia larva rapidly transform into barrel-shaped larva, that is a Doliolaria larva. So basically two basic forms, auricularia and bipinnaria. Bipinnaria modified into brachiolarия and auricularia transform into barrel-shaped form, that is a Doliolaria larva. There is a neural sensory plates on the anterior sides and apical tuft of cilia. These are the apical tuft of cilia for balancing while they are swimming. It is similar to holothuroids, also found in some crinoids also. So we have discussed on auricularia larva, bipinnaria larva, brachiolarия larva, and Doliolaria larva. They are under the group of auricularia group. Now come to Pluteus group. Pluteus group has basically two types of larva, Ophiopluteus larva and Echinopluteus larva. The Pluteus larva is found in two groups, class Echinoidea and class Ophiuroidea. Class Echinoidea and class Ophiuroidea. Class Echinoidea, commonly known as sea urchin or heart urchin or sand dollars. Echinoderms having more or less spherical or orally or aborally flattened bodies without arms. Ossicles fuse to form an internal test on which movable spines are mounted. That are the features of Echinoidea. Whereas the Ophiuroidea, they are commonly known as beetle stars, arms sharply set off from the central disc, ambulacral group absent, and arms largely filled by vertebral ossicles. Now the Pluteus groups are found in Echinoidea and Ophiuroidea. In the Pluteus larva, the organization is based upon improvement of locomotion and suspension of the larva in the seawater. This achieved by development of outgrowths of long paired arms supported by skeletal rods. Furthermore, all the arms carry ciliated bands with them. Thus, ciliated locomotory arms are helpful for greater suspension. By the presence of such arms, the Pluteus group is distinctly different from the Auricularia group. There are two kinds of Pluteus larvae, specific for two groups, which have resulted from adaptive convergence. The first one is Ophiopluteus. This larval stage is characteristics of many beetle stars. That is a class of Ophiuroidea. The Ophiopluteus larva show 4 pairs of elongated arms supported by calcareous rod. If you count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4 pairs are present. The arms are also provided with ciliated bands externally. The shape of the larva is distinctive, more semicircular in general. The shape is semicircular in general. The posterior lateral arms are longest. These are the posterior lateral arms. These are the longest arm. And that directed forward. In addition, anterolateral, postoral, and posterior dorsal arms, they are also present, but the size is small in comparison to posterolateral arms. That is the longest. Pre-oral arms absent. That is important. Pre-oral arms absent. Pre-oral arms present in Echinopluteus. The larva also contains well-formed functional digestive tract. The typical Ophiopluteus may be absent in some beetle stock, and in some forms, this larval stage is absent altogether. Now, next, Echinopluteus. This larval stage is typical for sea urchin. Sea urchin under the class Echinoidea, and their related forms of class. The typical Echinopluteus shows it is similar to Ophiopluteus, except some dissimilarity in the shape and arrangement of the arms. The shape of the Echinopluteus is somehow conical-like structure. The larva bears 4 pairs of long larval arms supported by calcareous rod, but the arms are more or less similar in size. The 4 principal pairs, anterolateral, preoral, postoral, and posterior dorsal, do not exactly correspond to those of Ophiopluteus. Preoral arms are present. That is important here. The arms are not widely open, likely that of Ophiopluteus. The alimentary canal is well differentiated and fully functional. The Echinopluteus is the long-lasting larval stage among entire echinoderm larvae. It may remain unmetamorphosed for several months. The similarities between 2 larvae is just due to adaptive convergence. That is a similarity. Now, other than Auricularia and Pluteus group, some other larvae are also found among echinoderms. What are the larvae? Phyteleria larvae. Among Silili, so under the class Crinoidea. What are the features of the Crinoidea? They are stalked and free-moving echinoderms. They have oral sides on the body directed to upwards, arms branched and bearing pineals. That are the features of Silili. That is a characteristics non-feeding, yolk-laden, free-swimming larval stage is observed. The body is barrel-shaped in outline. And another apical tuft of long cilia is also present. Presence of a number of transverse ciliated band, just like the Dollia larvae. After a short free-swimming existence, the Vitellaria settles at the bottom and transforms into a sessile crinoid. Besides Silili, non-feeding barrel-shaped Vitellaria larva is also found in some beetle stars and some holothuroids also. The presence of Vitellaria larva in 3 divergent groups also suggests a case of larval convergence. Now, another larva is a pentacrinoid larva. In case of Antedon, a Vitellaria larva transforms into another larval stage that is known as pentacrinoid larva. It is sedentary and attached to substratum with an attachment plate. Body is supported by stalk. There are 10 cilia-bearing tentacles which are used for capturing food. Both mouth and anus are located on the same site. Now, what are the significance of the echinoderm larva? The origin of echinoderms and the phylogenetic relationship of living groups continue to be unsolved, question and subject of mass speculation. Despite the occurrence of extensive fossil records of past echinoderms, paleontological evidence is still insufficient in many areas to draw a neat picture of phylogeny. Naturally, larval similarities of various groups were tried to use as a tool to deduce echinoderm phylogeny, just like the case of crustacean larvae. According to the principle based on Haeckel's theory, ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. Unfortunately, this idea has proved wrong. Why? As the entire larval history is confusing and misleading to deduce any phylogenetic relationship. The confusion is due to larval convergence as well as divergence. which are marked features of echinoderm larval history, that is reported Barrington 1979. Now, all the larvae of echinoderms have a bilateral symmetry. Hence, it is believed that the ancestor of echinoderms was a bilateral symmetrical animal. According to Bether 1900, this ancestor was called Diplurula larva. First, I have already mentioned, it is believed that different types of echinoderm larvae have probably evolved from a basic larva, that is a hypothetical larva, Diplurula larva. Now, according to Semon 1988, this ancestor was called Pentatula. The Pentatula ancestor was universally accepted. A brief survey of the modern views regarding significance of echinoderm larvae can be categorized into two ideas. What are the ideas? Idea regarding ancestral echinoderms. Larval characters suggested that echinoderms evolved from bilaterally symmetrical ancestor. The radial symmetry observed in modern adult echinoderms is a secondary feature evolved because of sessile existence, at least initially. Absence of water vascular system in echinoderm larvae suggests that the original function of water vascular system was to help in feeding and in locomotion, as per present day echinoderms. Occurrence of Vitellaria larva in divergent group may suggest that ancestral egg was probably yolky. Now, another opinion, larvae to determine intraphyletic relationship. It is true that a bilateral ciliated free-swimming larval stage is common to all echinoderm. Subsequent larval developments are essentially guided only by adaptive convergence and divergence. So, among echinoderms, especially eleutherozoans, two well-marked larval types are encountered: the Pluteus group, common to ophiuroids and echinoids, and the Auricularia group, common to holothuroids and asteroids. So, if we now arrange the echinoderms to express their in-food relationship based on the larval similarity, the results, that is a Vitellaria larva, that is a crinoid larva, that is a holothuroids larva, that is a ophiuroid larva. Basically, I prepare my notes with the help of book Invertebrate Zoology, edited by Edward Rupert and Robert D. Barnes, and with the help of this link, I prepare my presentation. Thank you, everybody.